No one warned me about comfort. And before I go any further, if you're in your 20s or 30s and you don't want to learn these lessons the hard way, subscribe now. I'm not here to hype you up or sell you a dream. I'm here to tell you the truth most people only understand when it's already too late. I'm 70 years old, and comfort didn't destroy my life in one dramatic moment. It did it quietly, slowly, almost politely. At 25, comfort looked like peace. It looked like balance. It looked like finally being able to relax. I thought if life felt easy, I must be doing something right. I didn't realize comfort is not a reward, it's a warning. I chose the job that paid enough instead of the one that challenged me. I chose evenings on the couch instead of building skills that scared me. I chose familiarity over growth, routine over risk, and short-term relief over long-term strength. None of those choices felt dangerous on their own. That's how comfort wins. It never asks you to destroy your life. It only asks you to stop pushing. In my 20s, my body was strong enough to forgive me. My mind was sharp enough to hide the consequences. I could eat badly, sleep poorly, waste time, and still wake up feeling fine. That's the trap. Comfort works best when you're young because the bill doesn't arrive immediately. It waits, it compounds, and by the time it shows up, you don't recognize the person you've become. I thought I was being smart by avoiding stress. I thought discipline was something extreme people needed, not someone like me. I didn't understand that discomfort is the price of becoming strong, and comfort is the price of staying the same. Every year I stayed comfortable, I became less capable of change. The things that once felt challenging began to feel impossible. No one told me that comfort doesn't feel like danger when you're living in it. It feels like safety. But safety without growth slowly turns into a cage, and one day you wake up older, heavier, not just in body, but in regret, and you realize the life you wanted didn't disappear. You just kept choosing comfort over the work required to reach it. That's when I understood the price, but by then, I had already paid most of it. The real damage of comfort didn't show up early. That's why I trusted it. It showed up later, when changing felt harder than staying stuck. Comfort slowly weakened my tolerance for effort. Things that once felt manageable started to feel exhausting. Challenges I could have handled easily in my 20s felt overwhelming in my 40s. Not because life got harder, but because I got softer. I stopped doing things that made me uncomfortable, and without realizing it, I stopped growing. I avoided difficult conversations. I avoided learning new skills. I avoided starting over. Every time something felt hard, I took it as a sign to back away instead of a sign to lean in. Comfort trained me to retreat, and life rewards the opposite. What hurts the most is that comfort didn't just take my time, it took my confidence. When you repeatedly choose ease, you stop trusting yourself to handle difficulty. You begin to doubt your resilience. You start saying things like, "That's just not for me," or "I'm not built for that." When the truth is, you were never tested long enough to find out who you could become. In my younger years, I thought stress was the enemy. Now I understand stress was the teacher I kept skipping. The pressure I avoided was shaping others into stronger, sharper, more capable people, while I stayed the same. They weren't better than me, they were just willing to be uncomfortable longer than I was. Comfort also made my world smaller. I stayed around people who didn't challenge me. I consumed things that distracted me instead of developing me. I protected my peace so carefully that I sacrificed my potential. And once your life shrinks to fit your comfort, expanding it again feels terrifying. This is the part no one tells you. Comfort feels harmless in the moment, but it quietly steals your future strength. It makes effort feel optional when it's actually essential. And the longer you live this way, the more expensive change becomes. I didn't realize that while I was choosing comfort, life was choosing for me. There came a point when I realized comfort had done something irreversible. It had rewritten my standards. I no longer asked myself what kind of life I wanted. I asked myself what I could tolerate. That shift is subtle, but it's deadly. When your standards drop low enough, almost any life feels acceptable, even when it's quietly disappointing you. In my 30s and 40s, I stopped aiming higher because aiming higher reminded me of what I had avoided earlier. It was easier to say, "This is enough," than to admit, "This isn't what I wanted." Comfort gave me good excuses. I told myself I was being realistic. I told myself ambition was overrated. I told myself wanting more was greedy or stressful. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't content. I was afraid. I avoided discomfort so long that discomfort became unfamiliar. Trying something new felt risky. Pushing myself felt unnatural. I had trained myself to stay within a narrow emotional range where nothing hurt too much, but nothing grew either. And that's when life becomes quiet in the worst way. No excitement, no pride, no forward movement, just repetition. What scares me now is how easy it was to let that happen. I didn't fail dramatically. I faded. I slowly became someone who talked about the past instead of building a future. Someone who remembered what he used to want instead of chasing what he still could. Comfort didn't break me, it softened me until I couldn't stand up when it mattered. If you're in your 20s or 30s, understand this before it's too late. The more you protect yourself from discomfort, the weaker your relationship with effort becomes. And effort is the currency of change. Without it, dreams stay imaginary and regret becomes real. I paid the price not because I lacked ability, but because I stopped demanding it from myself. The day I truly understood the cost of comfort wasn't dramatic. There was no breakdown, no sudden disaster. It was a quiet moment when I looked at my life and realized I had no proof of the man I believed I could have been. That kind of realization doesn't hit all at once. It sinks in slowly and it stays with you. I saw younger people doing things I once dreamed about, not because they were gifted, but because they were willing to struggle. They failed openly. They looked foolish. They endured pressure I had spent years avoiding. And while I told myself stories about luck and timing, I knew deep down the difference wasn't circumstances. It was tolerance for discomfort. Comfort had taught me to protect my feelings instead of building my strength. I avoided embarrassment. I avoided criticism. I avoided starting from zero. And in doing so, I avoided growth. Life doesn't reward comfort. It rewards courage repeated over time. I learned that too late. The most painful part is that comfort never forced me into this life. I chose it. Every easy decision added up. Every time I said, "not today," comfort got stronger and my discipline got weaker. Eventually, the gap between who I was and who I could have been felt impossible to cross. If you're still young, listen carefully. Discomfort is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're building capacity. The effort you avoid today becomes the regret you carry tomorrow. I avoided that effort for years because I wanted peace. What I got instead was a quiet dissatisfaction that followed me into old age. That's the trade comfort offers. It gives you relief now and takes your future later. At 70, I can finally say this clearly. Comfort is not neutral. It's a direction, and if you follow it long enough, it leads you away from the life you're capable of living. I didn't wake up one day and choose regret. I chose comfort every day, and regret was the destination. If you're in your 20s or 30s, don't wait for discomfort to be forced on you. Choose it intentionally. Choose the hard conversation. Choose the skill that makes you feel stupid at first. Choose the routine that feels boring but builds strength. The pain you avoid now doesn't disappear. It gets transferred to your future self with interest. I used to believe I had time to change. I didn't understand that time doesn't create discipline. Decisions do. Comfort kept telling me tomorrow would be easier. It never was. Tomorrow only became heavier because I kept carrying yesterday's avoidance forward. So here is the truth I earned the hard way. A comfortable life feels good early, but it costs you later. A disciplined life feels hard early, but it pays you back for decades. I chose comfort when discipline was asking for my attention, and now all I have left is clarity. You still have a choice. Don't pay the price I paid.